There is a lot to like about Florida State's running back room going into the fall. Solid contributors from last year's team in Sean Corbin and Lawrance Toafili are joined by a surprise on the roster with spring standout Trisha Awards. New to the group is Auburn transfer and resident power back, DJ Williams. This group has no shortage of names, so I'm bringing on my crew from the Triple Option series of videos, Trey Rowland and Adam Brown, to help me break them down.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Triple Option, and we're here in our second video of our position preview series. And this week we're going to be talking about the running backs. Actually, the running backs and the tailbacks. We'll explain. Listen, if you haven't already, go to X's and Knowles YouTube, subscribe, hit the little, I think it's a bell, don't really know. Get the notifications so you can see the videos first. Go to the patreon.com/X's and Knowles. Look at Kevin. He looks like a big disheveled piece of garbage. Give him some money for his Patreon so he looks like a respectable member of society. Kevin, just kidding, man. Explain the running backs in Mike Norvell's system.
Yeah, so Mike Norvell likes to kind of work with these, play with these running backs a lot. So I made a video about a year ago talking about how he uses two running backs in his system. But the basics of it is he's going to have what we're going to affectionately call running backs, and he has what are called tailbacks, or that's what we're going to refer to them as. So a running back is someone who's going to be lined up in the backfield. Always, he's going to be what you traditionally think of as a running back. A tailback is going to be someone more that kind of has this flexibility to either go out wide as a slot receiver or come back in as in like a two-back set, or can even potentially be the lone running back. So these guys are more like the Swiss Army knives of his offense and give him a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, based on what you saw last year, Jashaun Corbin was mostly playing a lot of the running back role. Lawrance Toafili was the guy who they considered a tailback a lot of the time, who kind of just so you can kind of conceptualize it from what you saw last year on the field.
Right.
So what are the types of running plays that Mike likes to run before we start talking about the individual guys and kick it to Adam?
Yeah, so we'll get a little bit more into this with the offensive line video that's coming up soon, but they like to run some outside zone, which basically means these guys are going to take a slide step or a bucket step and get outside and then block one gap over, kind of. So they're all kind of reaching towards their gap side, blocking towards the gap. If there's no one there, they generally help backside and then work their way up. So that kind of moves the defense in one direction in hopes that you can kind of have a running back be patient and find a gap, make one cut. That's kind of the zone offense kind of running scheme. But they'll also do a couple of plays where they use pulling linemen, so there's a little bit of flexibility there. So your traditional counter where you have the guard pulling and kicking and then a wraparound. But you'll also have down, which is a wing T play that is probably one of Adam's favorites, where the play side guard will kick out this end. So those are the main ideas.
So I like that. And honestly, Mike Norvell has had success running the ball wherever he goes, especially last year. If you take a look at some of the advanced metrics of how FSU improved so much as a running team, very impressive. Obviously, a lot of that to do with Jordan Travis, we mentioned in our previous video, but a lot to do with these guys as well. Adam, let's talk about Jashaun Corbin, a guy, Texas A&M transfer, kid who improved throughout the year, a guy that's been talked about very glowingly in camp so far. What do you see about Jashaun that you like as we watch some clips of him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's hopefully gaining back some of that explosiveness that he lost in that devastating hamstring injury that he suffered at Texas A&M before transferring to Florida State. He's a player that can kind of do it all for you. He's a good screen game guy, can catch the ball out of the backfield pretty well, is willing to step up and pass pro and block for you. But the biggest thing is he's just a consistent runner. He doesn't take a lot of negative plays. We're going to see him in some clips here. I mean, you see he gets downhill, he gets his shoulder pad square, runs through arm tackles.
Tough run.
Is able to finish close. You saw him in the goal line, or he was the kind of the goal line back a lot, and the Wildcat running back. Yeah, very, very tough runner. I agree with that, Trey. You're hoping he's going to gain a little bit more explosiveness back from being 2 years removed from that hamstring injury now.
one of those guys that's like a steady hand, right? Like in wrestling, you got like the guys who are superstars like Shawn Michaels. Then you got like a Barry Windham, who is just a solid hand, a guy there. And you guys are going a little bit deep dive for that reference. So just forget everything I just said.
Trey, he's very much the Chris Jericho of this backfield.
Chris Jericho is an absolute superstar. That's like prime Adrian Peterson. Shut up, Adam. Never talk wrestling again. Let's get you back to where you're more comfortable. Let's talk Lawrance Toafili. Let's talk football.
Yeah, so this is probably your top tailback option. So the player is going to line up out in that inside slot. Norvell likes a lot of those trips looks, so he's going to be the player who kind of lines up on the inside of the slot the most. Yeah, that one right there, Kev. No, the one to the left.
The tight end?
That's not a tight end in this system. Come on, man.
Yeah, but he's lined up at wingback, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so they'll move that player around. Though realistically, they're going to move that. They're going to move that guy around, that tailback. And in their different trips sets, they move the tight end and the tailback around in different positions. But that's going to be where Toafili predominantly lines up. I mean, this is your playmaker, right? I mean, he's probably your second most dynamic runner behind Jordan Travis. He's a kid who was slight in build.
Yes,
looks like
putting it nicely. Yes.
He looks like he's maybe 165 pounds soaking wet, but I mean, he's explosive. I mean, he can pull away from guys. He's great. He's a really good interior runner. I really like his patience. I like his vision. He's got a great jump cut inside. He keeps his shoulders parallel, or he keeps his shoulder pads over his knees. He's downhill. Yeah, this is a good look at the counter here that Kev drew up earlier. I mean, just look how he stays square to the line of scrimmage the whole time.
Patience.
Never shoulders to the sideline. Just patience, waiting for that line to open up a block, and then he bursts, and that's what you like to see.
Yeah, I like Toafili a lot. He's probably my favorite of the running backs personally, just because he is versatile, and that patience and that burst he has right out of the line of scrimmage is kind of a modern feature you're looking for in spread offense kind of backs.
Yep.
Well, we talked about the two main guys, the guys who we think are going to take the bulk of the carries, and that's Jashaun and that's Toafili. Now, let's talk about the rest of the guys, because there's a big kind of conglomeration of some guys that have shown potential, but we don't really know out of this next group who's going to be the dude to take over. They've all shown flashes, and that is the group of Trisha Ward, DJ Williams, the Auburn transfer, and then Corey Wren, the speedster from Georgia. We'll take a look at Ward first.
Yeah, Trisha Awards, a player who came in as a walk-on, earned himself a scholarship, and had a really impressive spring, and had a nice spring game too.
Spring game superstar is the it's always the one that the fans go crazy for.
Yeah, but I think he's a good combination of Toafili and Corbin.
Yeah, I agree.
Looks a little bit smaller than Corbin, but runs very much like Toafili. Stays patient, stays balanced, stays square to line of scrimmage. You see some of those impressive jump cuts on the interior of the line of scrimmage as he's reading defenders and setting up blocks for his offensive linemen. Has a little bit of burst through the line of scrimmage. I wouldn't call him a home run hitter. I mean, I don't think any of these guys necessarily are outside of Toafili, but
Toafili has potential.
Good. These are just a good, solid group of backs. Nothing to write home about.
So a guy who we actually think could take some significant snaps this year in the fall, not just one of those guys that explodes on a spring game. It establishes a lot of think pieces. A lot of people write about him, and then he just kind of vanishes off into the ether. DJ Williams, a transfer from Auburn. This is a guy that they were on real quick in the transfer portal, and I think they locked up really quick. Seemed like they were very excited. A guy that Kenny Dillingham had familiarity with as the former OC at Auburn. What did they get in DJ?
A big power back. I think he needs to prove that he can be that power back, though. He doesn't always run as physical as you would like a kid of his size to run. But he had some great plays in his one season at Auburn, especially against LSU. Had some big time runs. I think they tried to feed it to him a little bit in the spring game. You see some of that ability to break tackles here.
All right.
He does catch the ball well in the backfield. So again, another multifaceted type of player, not just a one-dimensional being able to run in between the tackles. But yeah, I mean, his game's going to be kind of grinding it out late, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We'll see how many carries he gets. He's going to have to prove it a little bit this fall, because I think he had a disappointing spring.
Speed with a bit more speed. Corey Wren. Am I missing? Did I emphasize the speed enough, Adam?
Yeah, this kid's explosive. I mean, coming out of Louisiana, he is a true burner. We haven't seen a ton of him. Obviously, he was a kid that I think they were trying to get in last year, and I think the lights maybe were a little too bright for him. Had the one. He's most famously known for the helmet, or the old fake helmet getting knocked off by DeKalyn Brooks last fall camp. He had one kickoff return. I think this past season wasn't very successful. We're going to see where he's at. I think he's a player you're going to look to play out in that tailback role to try to utilize his speed, getting him matched up on safeties. There's not a ton to say about him because we don't know a ton about him. We know he's fast, but we'll see what else he's got.
This room is desperately in need of kind of those home run hitters. We got a lot of steady hands. We kind of need some home run superstars, and this kid could be one. So keep an eye on him, boys. As we do at the end of all these position previews, let's give this unit a grade. Kevin, I'm gonna let you go first. We think it's a strength of the team, a solid contributor, or a potential liability for the 2021 season.
Oh man. I would call them a strength. I would. I think Mike Norvell does a great job with running backs. I think this is a diverse group with a lot of different skill sets. And it's a deep group. It's a group that, with running backs, you want to be able to put in these guys and rotate them through if you don't have a single superstar like Cam or Dalvin, because honestly, if I can have a fresh Corbin, then a fresh Toafili, then a fresh Ward back to back at you, that's hard to defend. So I would say this will be a strength. And their flexibility as well.
Adam?
I think it's just a solid contributor. I don't think there's a dynamic guy here that really just changes the scoreboard for you consistently or has the potential to. I think Corbin's solid. I think he's a solid piece, but I don't think he's great. I think Toafili is, I think he's got the potential to be something really good, but again, potential's, it's an unknown, so we'll see. Williams is a big question mark. Ward's a question mark. Wren's a question mark. So, yeah, I think contributor. I don't think they're a weakness, but I don't think they're anything that's going to carry the team.
See, I'm going to go opposite of what I did last time. I am very bullish on the running backs, and I'm not bullish on one. I think they are going to be a strength of the team because last year I thought that they were a solid contributor, and I think every single one of those pieces is going to get better in this upcoming year with another year in Mike Norvell's system. Hopefully a little beefier Toafili, a more explosive Jashaun Corbin. So there's not one running back like the guy that I could consider and be like, yeah, this guy is a potential superstar. But I think with what Mike Norvell's offense wants to do, another year of cohesion, another year of strength and development, another year of healing, I think the group itself is going to be the strength of the offense and what Mike Norvell is really going to lean on this year. So I would actually classify them as a strength, which is cool because I get to be positive, and I was a little bit negative at the end of the quarterbacks one. So that's great. Once again, thank you. This is Running Backs. Next, we're going to tackle one of the more intriguing position groups, the wide receivers, because what the hell are they going to do? I don't know. Just same thing with defensive backs, man. I'm interested to see who are the 3, 4, or 5 that they throw out on the field at once. But that's a video for another time. Thank you for tuning into the Triple Option. Tell your friends, subscribe on YouTube, go to the Patreon, throw poor Kev some money, and keep chopping.